to ask you a question. Should we be concerned that Trump seems to be leaning more to the center and more in a unification way of, maybe healing our nation, looking at a populist Americanized message versus a true conservative message? Should we be concerned with that? Should we want to see healing in a nation and maybe for the good of all America, or should we want to look back at standing on true conservative traditional values? I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves. I've struggled with this because personally, I want to see a movement towards conservatism. But it seems as the other side, as Biden tends to be weakened, we're starting to gain more support and more momentum in the Republican Party. That momentum is not with more conservatives, because the conservatives have pretty much coalesced and have been part of the Republican movement for a long time. But now it seems like everybody that's coming along wants to come, but wants their agenda to be forefront. I think of it like when we tell people to move out of these crazy states, and then they move to a new state, but they want to bring their craziness with them. That's not how it works. But should we be concerned? Let's talk about that today, because when Trump disavows things like Project 2025, or when he pushes more for unification and brings in people that I necessarily don't agree with, is that a good thing or bad? Let's jump in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here on this Sunday. Today we're going to just talk through commentary about what's really happening with Trump. I think he's surging in the polls, not only because of the attempt, but also because Biden is weakened and looking bad. The world's getting worse, and the economy's not getting better. The thing that I think we need to look at is this. I was thinking that Trump would have pulled a more unified candidate in the middle, a centrist like a Tulsi Gabbard or RFK, if he was trying to pander to the left. Okay, so that's a good thing. I think it's good that he picked someone like a J.D. Vance. Now, the question then comes, J.D. Vance tends to be a little bit more centrist. I mean, remember, J.D. Vance was a venture capitalist. He was a Marine, so he pulls in the conservatives and the Marine, the freedom fighters, but then he pulls in the, kind of the tech people, because he was a venture capitalist in the tech world. He worked for Peter Thiel, which was a billionaire in California. So I think he brings in the best of both worlds if we're looking for unity. Well, Trump has been pretty much against the Project 2025, which is tended to be more of a conservative view of what we need to do in this presidency. I've told you before that actually the things that 25 stood on, the things of true conservatives, meaning traditional marriage, making sure that we understand that we find value in family and Christianity, and yes, supporting the fact that Roe v. Wade got overturned, but ultimately not seeing any states adopt a pro-choice version. Well, a lot of the things that we stood on, and a lot of the things that we would consider true conservatives, yes, Trump represents us more than anybody else. So therefore, of course, we endorse him. We back him. But the question comes: are we concerned that the fact that Trump is not pulling more to the right, he's not pulling more conservative, he's pulling probably a little bit more to the center? Now, let's start off saying this. I don't think it's a bad thing, because I believe that in the economy that we're in, we need a better economy. We can all agree we want better grocery prices. We can all agree that we want to see debt down. We all can agree that we don't want to see forever wars. So on the conservative side of things, that we support that, of course. Also, as a conservative, I don't think Trump is going to throw people in jail for driving their car and squilling tires on a street that has rainbow colors on it. I don't think that the DOJ under Trump would put 70-year-old people in prison for praying at an abortion clinic. So I think that even though Trump is not as a conservative and is pandering towards the conservative as much as he's doing towards the center, I do believe he is the best candidate, because we have common ground on some things, and then ultimately it helps us have the freedoms on the things that we enjoy. If you listen to Trump and even Vance and even some of the bigger players like Vivek and some of these other talk about, the Christian movement or faith, they tend to be very obtuse, and they tend to be very vague. And the reason I say that is because they don't want to have that being the ideal version of what conservative looks like. So I thought this was a great point the other day that a part of the Babylon Bee, one of the writers for Babylon Bee said, and he was not being satirical, he was saying the reason that the Christians and conservatives have lost their way and we have seen the party move more centrist is we've given up on the party. We started falling. We started being weakened, and therefore the party has just kind of ventured and moved away from us. Now, yes, does the Republican Party still have a majority of Christian people and still represent God and believe in Jesus? Probably so. But overall, the more movement of moving away from some of those traditional ideologies such as, pro-life, no matter what, traditional marriage, husband, wife, and children. So that's my concern and my thought. I believe that I'm concerned with the fact that he still, uses profanity. I love the fact that he made the comment that Franklin Graham has told him that his stories would be better without the language. And I know he kind of pushed back on it, but I thought that was good that he brought that up because I believe that you're going to see a change in people. The question is the change better or worse? Two things can come out of the Saturday attempt. Trump can be more humbled and understand that his life is truly given by God and that it is a grace that he was not harmed worse than what he was. Or he can take it and say, well, I'm bitter and I'm unstoppable and I'm going to keep on pushing. The people that are now the biggest spokesmen, like the Presslers, and some of the ones that are more of the MAGA movement, even though I would consider myself Make America Great Again, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the more that we push towards the center and the populist movement, the more we're getting away from the ideology of true conservatism. Now the question is, are we willing to bend for those people? It's like in Mississippi or Florida or Louisiana or what other state. These are conservative states. If we see more California people move in, is it fair to say that we're going to start adopting California views, or should they adopt our views? Well, we would hope that they adopt our state views, assimilate. Well, the party that's growing and having momentum, Republican Party is gaining tons of momentum, and it seems to be unifying. However, I don't want us to bend our knee and give up on our values to entice more people to come. This week, a lot of venture capitalists and a lot of Silicon Valley really came out in support of Trump. Of course, we see David Sachs, and I actually like David Sachs. I consider him probably a fiscal conservative, not a social conservative. But I see people like him and Peter Thiel, which is, again, a venture capitalist. We also see even Bill Ackman, who is a really lifelong Democrat supporting Trump now. We see Elon Musk, who, of course, Overton window now, like we talked. He is considered to be a darling of liberals before Twitter, and before the left went so left, he was considered a very liberal guy. Now he's considered more libertarian or central and centrist, and I wouldn't consider him a conservative. The movement of conservative now is kind of what we consider very right-wing. The movement of a common sense or normality approach is definitely more central. I have no problem with that because, again, that benefits conservatives better. But I don't want us to lose the fact that truly what we've become in the Republican Party is almost like the 1990s Democrats, where we've become a party of normalcy, of common folk, of just true Americans, almost like the true heart of America. Well, there's nothing wrong with having freedom. I feel like we're living a country song. Country songs, they want to hold to religious roots, but don't really want to tie to Christ and Christianity. They'll hold to that, hold to my Bible, hold to my religion, hold to freedom, hold to patrioticness. All that's good, but it loses the fact of really watering down what true conservatism is. Now, do I support Trump? Yes. But I am concerned about it because I feel like the whole conservative movement is maneuvering away from true conservatism. So I'm anxious to see what the next probably 10 to 15 years are going to hold if this world stays here. Are we going to see a movement of true conservatism again? Or are we going to see really movement away from conservatism, and conservatives are just kind of left out there as just a fringe part of the Republican movement as a whole? I think that's what social conservatives have become. I addressed this last week with the Matt Walsh thing and the Amber Rose thing. I had no problem with Amber Rose speaking, but I had a problem with Harmeet Dillon doing the prayer. I had no problem with having people come in like Kid Rock or Dana White. I think they're great patriots, and you can tell that Overton window again moved to where they're very foul-mouthed. They don't really represent Christ or God, but the Overton window has shifted so much that the left has went so extreme that those guys are now considered really the heart of the Republican Party. 20 or 30 years ago, we would consider them probably the very left version of the Republican Party because we were so conservative. So I'm grateful to see people coming to the Republican Party. My biggest concern is I don't want to see our morals and values and the goods of what traditional families, traditional views of our culture, how I don't want to see those weakened. And I'm scared we're seeing that. Yes, will I support Trump and Vance? Vance spoke the other day at the Faith and Freedom Coalition, and it was very vague, but he was saying that we're still a dear friend of the Christian movement because I'm a Christian, and I hope he is. I hope that they are threadbare in their faith. But what I do want to see, I want to see more of that. I don't want that to be a back burner issue, and I think it's becoming a back burner issue. As Trump moves to get more of those independent votes, I'm fine with that. I think that that's a great thing to negotiate and bring more of a unified America. But when we bring a unified America, I don't want that unified America to become more centrist or more left to where we lose out on the true morals and values of what made America so great for so long. So for me, on this Sunday, as a true conservative, and yes, I have faults and I'm a failure, I want to see, yes, unification. I want to see a nation healed because I don't want to see more polarization and more infighting. So I think Trump could do that, especially after what happened last week. But I don't want us to see us weaken and sell out our main views just because we want to win. I want us to win, but I want us to keep to our principles, our morals, and our values, because that is what actually made America great. Now, if Trump is more center, like a lot of other Republicans have become, he still will be better for us than any Democrat. So if we fully support Trump. I think that's why Trump won versus DeSantis, or that's why Trump won versus some other true conservative candidate, because he is going to be stronger to the whole nation versus someone like DeSantis, who's definitely more conservative, or Franklin Graham speaking at the RNC. Most people would probably rather see Kid Rock than Franklin Graham. Sadly, that was there this time. So we want to see the heart of true conservatism to be a shining light for the Republican Party. Now, here's what I would say, and this is my challenge to you if you consider yourself a true conservative. If you consider yourself a centrist or just someone that likes freedom or just a libertarian, this is becoming a great movement. The Republican Party is becoming really the home for that. But if you are a conservative, true conservative, and you like freedom, but also you believe in the morals and values and raising your kids to understand that, and nuclear family and understanding pro-life, then what I think we should do is we should just be the light. And yes, support Trump. Yes, support the Republican movement, but also don't wane on our values. I would love to see more like the Glenn Becks and ones who are professing Christians on the conservative side stand up and be the light. And I don't know who that would be. I hope one day it'd be me. But I hope that the people that can influence, that are truly Christian folks, the Eric Metaxas, the Jack Hibbs, the John MacArthurs, I hope that they get more involved in politics, not to wane or weaken their views, but to strengthen the core conservative view again, to make people come back to that. That's what I want to see. Let's be the shining light, the city on a hill, and allow people to see what morals and values and good, true common sense, and really not just freedom, not just patriotism, but what true conservative, what it means. That's what I want to see. So am I concerned? A little bit. I'm anxious to see what the party's going to look like in 20 years. Again, Trump is 78, so he's not going to be around forever. J.D. Vance is probably a little bit more conservative than Trump, but I would love to see really what the party's going to become in the next coming years. And I hope that true conservatives will stand up and quit being weakened and start understanding they have a call to be the moral compass and also to support morals and values. Don't weaken them for anyone. Let me know your thoughts. Am I a little off today? I love to see this momentum for the Republicans. I love to see what RNC did. I just don't want us to lose out on who we actually are. I want to see more of people move away from these crazy states. But when they move away from the crazy states, they need to leave their crazy and come into the realization that the reason we're leaving your crazy and you're coming here is because we are the shining light. We are the city on a hill. Same way with the Democrats. I want Democrats to see the light and see the value of what Trump or what the Republican Party can do. But I want them to see more than that. I want to see the true conservatism and how we value family, how we value raising our children, how we value our faith in Christ, and how we value what true freedom looks like. That's my thoughts for the day.